Welcome back to Clean Titans, where we delve into the minds of entrepreneurs, scientists, and investors driving the green energy revolution. Today, we have a true clean titan who is tackling one of the world's most pervasive and overlooked problems: waste. Our guest is Colleen Brennan-Vandersteen, the CEO and founder of Save Our Planet Refillery, and a self described lean architect with a fascinating background in technology. Colleen, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ellie, for inviting me. Happy to hear about Clean Titans.
You spent over 35 years in the tech and airline industries with a long career at IBM. That's a unique background for someone who is now disrupting the retail and distribution sectors. Can you tell us how that journey led you to where you are today?
When I graduated from school, I went straight into tech. I was told I had a mind for computers, which was an interesting concept from my grade 12 data science teacher. I eventually got hired by Air Canada after working 4 years for a small computer company, driving their whole operation. It was called SIR Mail Order. And I eventually got on with Air Canada, which I left that company. I had great conversations with the owner of that small company. Air Canada was the opportunity that allowed me to grow a lot more in tech. I had taken courses in computer programming, evening courses, in order to elevate my expertise in designing software. And so I worked for Air Canada. I learned many things about the airline industry. The pilot may drive an airplane, but the messaging and operations is the automation of airline operation is automated by messaging. Messaging became my interest. I learned to read the messaging and understand it. And eventually, with IBM, was brought into a position called enabling, which is the host and network configurations. And I specialized in telecommunications. So when the airline goes into an airport, you have to configure all the terminals for connectivity to the host, design automation messaging. And I was able to streamline a lot of their processes with my software designing, creating teletype message reject robots in order to handle messaging that rejected. It was a great job. I worked from home for 25 years, long before people started thinking working from home was good. It was the best job. I would design things that allowed me to move forward. Won many awards with IBM in lean designing the processes that we were doing manually, such as TPF. The configurations, when you design the configurations, they go into a dynamic database and then they have to be moved into core database. That created an outage. We streamlined that whole process. It was phenomenal. What went from taking 2 days to compile went to a half an hour run, and it was all streamlined. It's lean. It's knowing the software, how to design it. And then, as the coders would say to me, when you have a great design, they can do things a lot faster. And when I designed the teletype reject message robot, they had it completed in 2 weeks. And they said it was because the design was so clear on how to deliver and process. I had it all down to a science. So it really helped
Nice.
taking the programming courses. Yes. So that's my background. As a lean architect, I assess process efficiency levels in all processes and look at it to see where I can automate and make things a lot better.
Excellent. The core mission of Save Our Planet Refillery is to address what you call the root cause of global waste, which you say isn't packaging, but distribution. Can you elaborate on that?
I certainly can. This whole project came about by somebody giving me a tidbit. And the tidbit was recycle doesn't work. And my daughter was just 6 months old when I was out sorting my 5 recycle bins, my newspaper, all my containers. I cleaned them. I spent a lot of time organizing it. He comes out, he goes, "Colleen, you're wasting your time. They just did a TV documentary. It's all garbage." And Are you kidding me? I just spent an hour getting this all ready. And he says, well, stay here and watch it. They're going to throw it in the garbage truck. I went, really? I kicked the blue box and I went, well, not on my watch. And I'm not going to sleep for a week now, trying to think of how I'm going to solve this problem.
Well, it's to
And
appease you, right? The plastic industry came up with a brilliant idea. Let's do this fake recycling so that everybody's minds are put
belief.
to
Yes,
ease. You don't have to worry; it's all recycled. But they're really 90% plus is not recycled.
absolutely. You're bang on, Ellie. It's a lot of phoniness that making you believe things are working when truly they are not. And so when it was time for me to look at what's my next career, what do I want to do? We had moved out to the country and had to buy drinking water or I had to boil the water because it didn't test great. And so I found a 24/7 self-serve water refilling station. And after probably 10 to 15 years of using it, I went, what a great business. Runs all by itself. I want one. Why are we stopping at water? Why aren't we refilling more? Well, I just was it just had my mind going all kinds of ways. I was looking at what I liked, didn't like, looked at the back end. It needed all redesign. I have a patent on a high volume dispensing system with the least amount of resources. We're talking high volume, 2,000 gallons of product, least amount of energy. You don't want to change the world and make it high in energy. You want to make it low in energy. So that's how you keep the cost down. So that's how Save Our Planet Refillery basically started. It was learning environmental, learning business, and designing a business and a project that I would love to work on. And it's a very stimulating project. Opened my eyes and mind to many new things. The insight is priceless as to truly the reality of how things actually work compared to the perception that people believe it's working. That's everywhere. And in reality, everything is not working. It's not fast. Designing a business and making a business is 150% time waste. And that's more in the finance side or investment side. However, it has tons of value. It has opened my mind and vision that Save Our Planet Refillery is a phase 1 of 3 in removing packaging. And the beauty of it here in Winnipeg, where I live, is we've been refilling containers for at least 21 years, if not more. I think that we have a number of businesses all doing the same, operating 24/7 self-serve and continuing to grow with multiple locations everywhere. People love just paying for product. It feels good to just pay for product and no waste. You actually feel good about everything, really.
You've pointed out that only a small percentage of packaging is recycled and the rest ends up in landfills or oceans. The public often sees recycling as the solution. How do we change that mindset to focus on what you're doing, which is eliminating the need for packaging in the first place?
Well, I agree with you on that one, but the thing is not to make people change. It's actually to design the business more for industries. Because removing packaging, as I met up with suppliers, there's a lot of suppliers don't want to remove the packaging. It is a rip-off factor that people don't realize that suppliers have created. The product they're manufacturing is probably 5 cents to 50 cents, but you're going to be paying $4 to $5 for it. And it's all the profit margin hidden in the packaging. And so they have you believing that's the value of the product when it's actually not. So when I started out, it was like here in Winnipeg, it's easy to convince people to refill because they get the concept, but there's many places do not have refilling. This high volume refilling was more designed for wholesale. And so it was like, how do I convince retail to come and take this concept? They will save money, which will create a whole supply chain of savings from the supplier, reducing product cost, minimum 20%, goes then to consumers, then goes to the industries, and eventually gets to the cities when we get rid of the phony programs, when we enable reuse efficiency on a grand scale by having high volume dispensing systems everywhere, such in big box retail, where you can take back all your own containers, pay for just the product, for cleaning products, personal hygiene, food. Eventually we get into edible and gardening. We can get into all kinds of industries. So my main objective is to sell high volume dispensing systems to industries. Therefore, I had to design the model. How do the industries hit all their targets that they need to hit from operational problems? Number one, a high volume dispensing system, when you remove packaging, they can't steal it. The theft and shrinkage prevention. Right now, global retail reports 100 billion loss every year through theft and shrinkage. That terminates. The second big focus on a problem is we create new markets now. If Walmart buys this system, I have hotels saying to me, hey, if Walmart's selling cleaning products in wholesale volume, we're buying from them. So you see that they no longer a retailer, they're now a wholesaler, where they've been dying to go. They've been dying and created Sam's Club to be a wholesaler. You make all their locations wholesale. So now businesses and consumers can be buying from the same place. Number three, we move retail to where they've been dying to go, which is 24/7 self-serve. They've been trying for 60, 70 years. You can't do it with the current infrastructure of shelving in containers because of the opportunity for theft and shrinkage. There's so many things wrong there. And lastly, actually a number of others, but the other big target is it hits all 17 of the UN SDGs, getting rid of scope 1 to 3. So we are addressing three major projects, three major global problems, pardon me. And that is, number one, we terminate or address the global plastic waste crisis. We address the failed recycle. And lastly, we stop the nano and microplastics that are accumulating in the oceans and everywhere. When you enable reuse efficiency with the containers that do last a long time, packaging doesn't get rid of the cost nor the waste. I don't care if it's seaweed or you can eat it or whatever. I don't want to eat a container. I don't want to do any of that stuff. And suppliers, when I approach them, I said, are you interested in this kind of package? And they go, no, we have a product that needs to be in a container for 2 years before it's done. Like, people hang on to product for a long time. We can't have packaging melting. It'll melt right down and destroy itself. The whole design is wrong to band-aid a system with new packaging when the real problem is distribution. That is it. They have to enable us with reuse efficiency, which will reduce costs, which will reduce waste, and we enabled with the true habits we need to be enabled with, which is reuse.
So you put your refillery in like your grocery stores or like big box Home Depots, and where does the product come from? Are you using this product from the same manufacturers?
Yes, what we would do is send these big totes to the manufacturers. They keep refilling the same totes. And the system is designed with back-end robotics. People will not see the back end. They're only going to see the dispenser and the
And then
container.
somebody has to refill or put a new container into the dispenser, right?
Well, actually,
That's
the
only
back end.
labor.
That's the back end robotics we're going to have. It's high volume. Nobody could lift them anyways. You need a forklift to carry these things. They're
Right.
322 tons. They're big. They're not small. And so we changes to logistics where maybe we'll send back empty liquid train cars to the supplier and say, fill the liquid train car. We'll just fill our totes locally.
And what products have you had the most luck with?
Cleaning products are definitely up there, and personal hygiene is another one with shampoo, body wash, and soap, dish detergent. I have a brand supplier that was out of California that's willing to, or actually anxious to get into our high quality, sophisticated dispensing system.
So how much does it cost a retailer to get that? Like, if a grocery store chain wants to get these, what does it cost?
The cost to them is a one-time price, 300,000 USD for the system. The return on the system for a 10 dispenser is within a year.
For how many dispensers?
10.
10. And product do you start with usually?
I just provide the systems. They get their own product. Where Walmart would have their suppliers, they would send them back the totes and the supply.
But then you have to have a system for those totes to be collected.
Yes, the front end is going to have.
So you don't help on that. The retailer has to do it all on their own.
That's all They do that anyways. They handle their own inventory anyhow. It's still
Right,
handling your
but
own
they don't
inventory.
know how to handle these large
Oh,
containers
they'll
of
know how to handle
products.
yeah, they'll know.
And which manufacturers are on board doing this with you?
What do you mean? For
Like
product?
companies are on board. Like you have,
Yeah, for
Lay.
mice, yes, we would have brand name on the Canadian side now because of the tariff limitations have changed. Our suppliers are now not going to be who they were. They will be on the American side because we're expanding into the U.S. as well. We're manufacturing in the U.S. East Central and West manufacturing, and
Mhm.
they will change all their industries. So Save Our
So,
Planet Refillery is
so
designed for
companies like Unilever and Palmolive or Method are already working with you. Is there
no.
any that you can
Okay,
name?
how it happens, Allie. Who controls who? It's not the supplier controlling the distributor. It's the distributor telling the supplier how they want their products. No point going to a supplier. They can't change their customers.
So
Walmart is the
if
number one customer for P&G, and Walmart says
right,
we're changing. Guess what? P&G has to change.
true, but let's say a smaller grocery chain wants to install your machines, how will they make the rest happen?
Well,
Will they have
you know, going to happen is who's the most sustainable suppliers? Because I'll tell you right now, there are a lot of suppliers won't change. They won't change until they absolutely have to, and they will only have to when their distributors tell them how they want their products. And that is how things are going to change. It's not consumers, it's the industries. How when you change and remove packaging, you reduce the product and operating cost minimum 20% each. That's a 40% savings right there. That's because you reduce shipping volumes. We all starts at the supplier. When I presented to a supplier in California and I had a 10-page PowerPoint, I only got to page 2 of my PowerPoint, which was a wall of dispensers that went laundry soap, dish detergent, shampoo. Up her hand, she goes, Colleen, that's the most sophisticated system we've ever seen. You've got high quality with stainless steel, you got tech. We've seen all kinds of dispensers. They're just crap. They're just plastic. We don't want them. We won't use them. We will take this to the board. I am positive it'll be approved, and it was. And
so
so
which group chains are you in California?
I'm not going to tell you because that's going to change again because of the
Oh, okay.
situations.
Okay.
Our brand suppliers that are willing to change, not many. I can assure you, they don't care if they're killing the planet. They're making money, and their shareholders are happy. It's those that are going to change because their customers are demanding that they change. So I had to learn a lot who controls who. It's not suppliers.
Right.
However, finding a supplier from my own system was a challenge. And so it's been an interesting journey in that case. However, we are going to be for retail because like I say, we hit all their operational problems, reducing the product costs, reducing their operating costs. Waste 100%, you change the frequency of waste pickup from to twice daily to maybe once a week.
Well,
Changes.
all the grocery and big box stores, they have huge pallets of just cardboard boxes
I know
that they know what to
they no
do.
longer will have the cardboard boxes to get rid
Right.
of
Right.
because we're sending totes that are refillable and reusable all the time.
Right.
Um,
Great.
so you can see, and we reduce shipping volumes by 65% when you remove all the packaging. So I had suppliers go, you really reduce our operating costs. We don't have to buy the containers, caps, labels. We don't have to fill them, store them, ship them. Saves them tons of money. And so this savings is definitely creates a supply chain all the way down the line. Eventually, cities terminating the recycle programs that have never worked. It's all wasted money. We've wasted time. We've wasted money. It's completely inefficient. It's only 8% efficient recycling.
And more trucks, diesel trucks running around carrying those recycled
Another reason why
stuff just to take them to the dumpster anyway. What's the point?
It is assessing the whole efficiency. So distribution is the root cause to the waste is the waste. And it's not the packaging. Again, changing packaging does not get rid of the cost or any of that. You eliminate the packaging, you've eliminated the cost and the waste. And so that's what we're doing.
Your personal story from the COVID-19 pandemic seems to have been a major catalyst for this business. Could you walk us through that moment and what it taught you about the fragility of our current distribution models?
Well, prior to COVID, I am currently 15 years ahead of technology when it comes to designing distribution. Um, the name of my distribution is Profitable, Smart, Sustainable Distribution. Is the acronym is PIST. And so prior to that, nobody was paying attention. They didn't realize the world was in a red level crisis where I did. And I was running everywhere to try to get the attention. And I realized I had to not focus on consumers, but focus on industries after. COVID kind of pointed out a lot of things to me. But the beauty of it is, COVID made the world aware of the environmental problems that we had been currently operating with. It wasn't till 3 weeks later when people could see blue skies and the water was blue and Mother Earth was healing. That's when this all attention. Now the world's well aware of the environmental, and now it's going to get a priority, which has really accelerated a lot of the environmental solutions. Finance has not actually matured to that level yet. They seem to still think they have time. They still think they need to do things small and slow. That's not correct. Right now, the urgency is the world is in a red level environmental crisis. We don't have a time. We must hurry with big money. The European Union has created climate bonds, which is actually with big money to make change. And the beauty of it is more jobs, changing infrastructure, and we're creating jobs and we're reducing the money waste by just creating this new infrastructure. So Save Our Planet Refillery has 3 revenue streams. Number 1 is selling product in our showcase that will be in Winnipeg, Canada, probably in 2026. I have a number of US cities have requested a franchise, and South America has come to me and said, we need the third is my main objective is to sell systems. I presented to Manhattan on their waste advisory board saying that you need a system for your transportation hub where all your cleaning products can be put in these big dispensers, which can be fed with a recycle type, with a reuse efficiency cycle where, the buses and come and fill their containers with cleaning product, use the product, come back and refill the container again. That container can be used for 20, 50 years. There's nothing wrong with the container. Never was a problem with the container. That's the beauty of it. It lasts forever. They never enabled us to use them forever. That's what I'm changing. And so the beauty of the system is it now creates a revenue stream for cities where people will say, hey, they've got the cleaning product I want, and they'll just take their container and refill it. It's now creates a new kind of distribution that's even more convenient, where industries, businesses could say, hey, we can go get, floor cleaner there. Whether it be a school divisions putting in a system and feeding all the schools within the division with product and a reuse. Somebody's job is to pick up the containers, fill them, and drop off full of containers. And they create a cycle every week where they do the same thing every week. It's interesting how these types of change and create new jobs and different inventory.
You were nominated for the 2015 Caterva Award, often called the sustainability equivalent of a Nobel Prize.
Yes.
What was the experience like, and how did it motivate you to continue pursuing your vision for a sustainable future?
In 2015, I was nominated by a woman scientist from France in nanotechnology, by the way. She approached me and said, look, I'm going to for the waste reduction category. And she was very impressed with what I had designed. And I put in my application and went through. I did not even get elected out of my category, which was not unusual for me. Anything I applied for, I never got qualified because I think it was a little so advanced in disruption that nobody understood it. So when the category committee said, sorry to inform you, you didn't win. And I said, okay, I understand. May I ask who won? And they said, ocean cleanup. I said, I agree. The ocean needs to clean up. However, he is a routine handling a symptom. He's not a sustainable solution. You have to terminate the packaging from going into the ocean. That's what I'm doing. And they kind of backpedaled. I thought they would backpedal to a point of funding both of us, which would have made sense to me. However, they continued with ocean cleanup. He's the 19-year-old guy, Boyer Slats from Denmark. He was 19 years old. He created a boat where it drives around and picks up all the plastic waste in the ocean. And he's still been operating, but after 7 years, the investors go, well, that is a routine handling a symptom. Nobody wants it. There's all operating costs, and there's no investment return. So they were ready to shut him down because it wasn't truly an investment. And again, they didn't solve the problem. They weren't solving the problem.
It's not financially.
Wasn't solving anything. It was just allowing people to continue on the same failed process. And
Right.
he couldn't handle the volume. Nobody can. There's actually like 30 businesses all the same. It's to terminate the issue. And that's what I'm doing. It's terminating the issue at the source.
Right. And then even if you pick up all that plastic, it's still, you got to do with it.
Well, this is it. I mean, when you enable reuse efficiency on a grand scale, you will not see that issue anymore. We solve
Right.
that issue.
Right.
We'll move on.
At the source. You're
Get
solving
rid of it at the source. And you know what? The beauty of it is this is phase 1 of 3 in removing packaging. So the next phase is delicate items, clothing, food, all kinds of different ways of feeding them without packaging. And then the last one is larger items. So it's 3 different systems needed in order to remove all boxing, packaging we don't need.
Let's dive into your solution. Can you explain in simple terms how the Save Our Planet Refillery system works? How do you take wholesale volumes of products and bring them to a retail level without packaging?
Well, it was addressing. So first of all, Save Our Planet Refillery is transforming distribution, new infrastructure with technology to remove packaging. And this concept is for the industries. As I say, we address all of their operational problems because they're playing with packaging. Again, we address all the problems that for the globe, which is the global plastic waste crisis, the failed recycle, and stopping the nanoplastics. For industries, we're addressing the operational problems of stopping theft and shrinkage, creating new markets for them by being a wholesaler. And even for the government, if you picture a prison, the complex is you're bringing in product in small packaging. Look at all the garbage that would generate when you could bring it in wholesale volume. And here's the thing, the industries that are local to the prison or the houses that are local to the prison, depending on where they put the system, people can come and refill with their cleaning products. They're bringing in the product a lot cheaper. And now people can save the same savings by buying from somewhere local. It's interesting how change all the industries prepare. So our revenue selling systems, we're selling systems and building models. So we're creating the very first 24/7 self-serve multi-card drive-in refilling station for consumers and businesses to come in with their containers. They can pre-order or they can order that they want to refill. If they want to get 5 containers filled with laundry soap, dish detergent, hand soap, whatever they'd like, floor cleaner, they can pre-order, pay for it, put their containers in their car, drive to the refillery, put back up, put the containers into the shopping cart, put them in the dispenser, the appropriate one voice command. They can fill all 5 containers, put their caps back on, put them back in their car and drive out. Done. You know how fast it is? We're filling 20 liters of water in like a minute. We get it to that. You're filling your containers. There's going to be a lot of fun on the dispenser with sensors and all kinds of things. It's honest. I'm going to be hiring the engineers, mechanical, electrical, or construction, and then tech, robotics, RFID, inventory management. All these things are going to be fun. They get very when they hear of a project that has such a high impact to the world. Save Our Planet Refillery about terminating a lot of the problems of the world and making things a lot better for the countries.
Well,
I'm willing to sell
you
all my manufacturing licensing to countries. I will
you have to
expand.
also design a great interface and great app to do all that.
Yes, it's designed. It's endless. I'll be on phase 2 is another kind of sensors, and it's lots of fun. My vision is big, but I think the investors should be investing in the jockey and not the horse. And I think they're focused on the horse, and they don't look at what they could be investing in. It's kind of interesting. I've learned a lot. And I think businesses that can see that they could be part of the system should be partnering with me in order to I'll create their outside sales. And so they need to be looking at things in a different light because things need to change. We can't stay the way we are, economically or environmentally. So it's time to disrupt.
Your technology enables refilling 17 containers with 16 different products in less than 15 minutes.
Hmm.
That's incredibly efficient. What kind of technology is behind this, and how does it prevent things like theft, which is a major concern for retailers?
Well, it is the system itself. People don't have access to the product unless they pay for it. That stops the theft right there. The current system with a shelf is easily stolen. And so this is where we help retailers or all industries, from airports, universities, military, automotive, port infrastructure, and the governments in all areas, whether it be military, school divisions, transportation, prisons, police stations. And we need to create these new efficiencies where systems are available. And it is designing for cities such as New York and LA, where it's condensed, and up in where we put this system on the outside of a building, not inside a building. It's really interesting. So people just walking by can fill their containers on their way home. It could be put into train stations. Like you're looking at most people are going into the city. They can take some containers and fill a couple every day on their way home through the train station. They're just walking by. You know how fast that shopping is? Anyways, retailers are excited to hear of something new that actually addresses all of their operational problems with one change. The return on the system is within a year because of all the problems it addresses in change. The current system has tons of money waste and generating a lot of waste. So this is the true triple bottom line by enabling reuse efficiency socially and the economics of not paying for packaging. It's a subscription model for you to continually paying over and over again. And that's basically a family of four is throwing away minimum $3,000 to $4,000 a year just on packaging. And they don't even know it. I dare you to take $4,000, go to the landfill and throw it in. No one would do it. They're doing it and don't even know it. So this is how they're used to this of dictating what they can do. We changed that dictatorship where now the consumer has a new purchase power. You now bring the container you like in the volume you want in order to fill it. It's not what they have on the shelf. And so this was another way. I was a master shopper. I'm like, I hate the packaging. I know the product's 50 cents to manufacture it, and I'm going to pay $8. I'm not happy. I'm not. And people are wondering how you're going to reduce. How you got to get rid of the packaging. Number one, it's something we don't need.
You have a number of different business models for your showcase store in Winnipeg, franchises and direct sales of your systems to large industries. Who is your primary target customer, and what has been their reaction to this model?
Well, the number one at the time was I wanted to enable consumers with the ability, which meant retail is my prime target market. And I have to design the business model where we help them. And we do. They're very excited to change. But I'm not limited to that. Again, I see where airports could have a high volume dispensing for their automotive for the aircraft in the hangars. And then they could have another system within the airport that could feed the consumers or the travelers with shampoo and stuff that they can't take with them. There's other products, but in the airports, they would have cleaning products because most airports are loaded with retailers that are all going to buy their own products elsewhere. Now the airport can make a zero waste complex by saying to the retailers, bring back your own container, refill it with our cleaning products, and we're all good. There's no waste. And they save money because they're bringing in the product way cheaper. So everyone, the retail and airport would have a new way of cleaning their locations using their products, which is what they would like. It's in the hospitals doing the same thing where they're bringing in, I could see even employees bringing back their containers from home going, hey, I can get floor cleaner at the hospital because it's way cheaper, and bring back their container from home, fill it and go home. Hospitals they can feed the clinics, the private schools, the daycares may want the hospital quality they can use for their facilities, and they'll get it way cheaper and at their convenience. So I do see a lot of things changing. I do see that the refillery could bring in products where restaurants would be able to fill with food, different things, whether it be ketchup, they want to do. They're, cooking oil. No, we did it to Dubai, and they said they wanted it for all food. They wanted it for rice and grains. And, there's a lot of no money. In countries that are world, they can't afford the food because it's in a packaging. However, if they have $1, we can dispense $1 of rice for all income levels. The beauty of the system is it enables everyone, every income level, to use the system and get that low quality, a low price, any volume they want.
The system promises significant savings, including a 20% reduction in product and operating costs and a 50% reduction in global packaging weights. What makes this model so economically compelling for businesses, and how does that help them meet their own sustainability goals?
Well, their sustainability goals, right now, retailers are responsible for scope 1 to 3. We remove scope 1 to 3 because now consumers are keeping their products. Scope 1 to 3 is the retailer is responsible where your packaging goes, and they have no control over where it goes. So, to be honest with you, it's another phoniness that hasn't worked. And I don't know. I'll be honest with you. So we address all industries' responsibility to reduce carbon footprint by reducing the shipping volumes, by reducing it's with saving money and reducing carbon footprint as well. That really goes away down the line, all the way to terminating the failed recycle, because we are eliminating the carbon footprint right there. And we are enabling industries where Save Our Planet Refillery, selling manufacturing to countries as well, will create jobs. We're going to save the land. We're going to save the oceans. I'm invited to all the oceans because I'm the only one addressing the global plastic waste crisis at the source. And so we're addressing retail, airports. They all have a corporate credo to reduce carbon footprint. I have no idea how they're going to do it. And we help terminate a lot of that stuff. We're going to be a package of solar and wind energy. We're going to have electric vehicles. We're not going to have anything fossil fuels.
You mentioned that your technology is built for resilience in volatile markets. How does a refillery system, which is a new type of infrastructure, create more stability in a world where supply chains are becoming increasingly fragile?
Again, when the product has security behind a wall, nobody has access to it. Far more secure. During COVID, there were people grabbing all the products because the cashier couldn't limit them. The system can limit them. If you're only allowed 2 toilet papers, like 2 packages, whatever, instead, when it's on a shelf, somebody was buying up all 30 of the toilet paper packaging and they couldn't stop them. We can change that. When you have a crisis situation in a country, we can provide food, and you can create the quantities that people are allowed to get. And this allows, especially you're going into in Ukraine, to provide a system where people can still get their food. And it is clean food. It's behind, nobody has access to it. It's interesting how we can create that security and nobody can steal it.
You've described yourself as a lean architect.
Yes.
For our viewers who may not be familiar with that term, can you explain what it means and how does that philosophy influences your approach to business and sustainability?
So, lean architect is somebody who assesses the process efficiency levels, sees where the waste is, sees where the money is wasted as well. And it's designing automation or just changing the process architecture. In this case, this is more of changing the process architecture. You have to look at the current distribution system we have right now, where the plastic manufacturers make the containers. Here you go. Ship them all the way around the world to suppliers. Look at all that gas emissions. The suppliers fill them and then they ship it all the way around the world to their distributors. Look at all that gas emissions. We change that. We send our totes directly to the suppliers and they send it back to us. That's the only thing. It's a huge disruption when it comes to that type of distribution. You minimize the shipping volumes and you reduce the costs because the shipping in all of that is terminated. Just ship the totes back, and eventually we're going to get into. I see liquid train cars where we say to the supplier, fill the train car, and we'll fill our totes from the train car. So we're bringing in higher volume as we can in order to eliminate the costs. And that's how you change the distribution. The lean architect, we're taking the moving of filling the containers away from the supplier and now enabling consumers to fill their containers. And that is how you change that process. And that's lean. It's eliminating steps that aren't really needed. Were never really needed. It was by design. It is designed to create that subscription model for suppliers to collect the money and the high profit margin with the packaging. It's a disruption.
Your work with Save Our Planet Refillery addresses the triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit. Could you share some examples of the social and economic impacts beyond just waste reduction?
Well, first of all, the reduce, reuse, recycle. We've done the recycle process, which does not work and never worked. So now we're going back to reduce, reuse, and that's the focus on how we're going to change. As a true triple bottom line, enabling reuse on a grand scale is the social change we're enabling. The number two is removing the packaging, gives that economic savings. And again, with efficiency, where you bring back your own container, the one you want, we save the environment. No garbage. I've used the same containers for 21 years. I feel very good about just filling my own container and just paying for the product. I pay $3 for 20 liters of gallons of water. People are paying $5 for a tiny, tiny bottle of water at airports. They've got you. You must learn to carry your own containers, your own water bottles, your own insulated coffee, stainless steel containers. I save hundreds of dollars every time I travel by refilling my free water at the airports and getting coffee at conferences and taking it back to my hotel. Whatever. I save a minimum $200 to $300 per trip by not paying for that packaging. And I feel good about it. I feel efficient, to be honest with you. I feel that I've done my share and betterment for my children, trying to teach them the same thing, that you have to think differently than from what they currently have as status quo.
And you're not ingesting all those PFAS from even paper glasses or paper cups.
Well, eliminating the cardboard. I mean, it's time to sit down trees to make cardboard and all the things that we have to do. This again, I didn't finish the carbon emissions. The current system has all those emissions of shipping the containers, filling the container, and then the recycle, shipping containers all the way around the world. That container has traveled more than you have, probably by recycle, because it's probably about 5 years ago. Well, it was during COVID where we were shipping recycle to the Philippines for them to play with, and they're on social media going, Canada, come and get your garbage. You're calling it recycle. We don't call it. Canada had to then post what it costs to go get that recycle. which was 100 tons of, they called garbage, cost $2 million to go get it. Well, it really cost $4 million with $2 million to take it there and $2 million to go pick it up. That's a lot of money wasted on playing with packaging that's garbage. We need to terminate it at the source. That's new distribution.
Looking at the bigger picture, you've mentioned that companies who will survive the resource revolution are those equipped to serve customers while minimizing waste. What advice would you give to legacy companies and even startups who are struggling to make this transition?
I'll be honest with you, it's changed a lot. I think Walmart had the right way back in 2012. They were standing up saying, "We seek technology to remove packaging will increase our profits." I knew I had a customer because they were already thinking differently. And so when I used to send my information to retailers, they would refuse me. A good example was a hardware's chain. I sent my information to saying, "Hey, I got this system if you guys are interested." And so they said, "We don't think you have anything we're interested in," because they weren't thinking that way. And so when it came back, I said, "That's interesting because Walmart seeks technology to remove packaging will increase their profits!" Exclamation mark. And I got the fastest reply back from this retailer going, "We'd love to hear what you have to say." So I prepared my marketing and I went and presented to their buyers. Sure enough, they were so excited to hear what I was changing, whether it be dispensing, high volume dispensing for paint. Look at how many paint cans there are thrown away. They sell cleaning products. Their brand, I said, you can make your brand look sustainable. I see big change that would make their brands all look sustainable. Safe, Walmart's got their brands, and they put all their brands into the high volume. The other chain the brands, maybe not. Guess what? They now look like the most sustainable brand because they've removed packaging. The youth are extremely excited to hear of this disruption.
And the brand would be costless, so it'll be
Yes,
cheaper. So people will
it'll
buy it
be
more.
less and it'll look far more sustainable by removing the packaging.
Yeah. You have plans for phases of expansion.
Mhm.
Can you give us a sneak peek into what's next for Save Our Planet Refillery, especially with your move into edible products?
So Save Our Planet Refillery's plan is to create the showcase, which is a large location that will allow me to create the 24/7 self multi-car drive-in refilling station, which will have phase 1 and add in phase 2 and phase 3 systems. So I can demonstrate all 3 phases in one location. So it's a very large location. It's not, the climate change has caused everyone to think differently and become quite concerned. So with that, people are looking at these changes that truly do terminate some of the problems of the world. So and it does give that economic savings. I just want to say I think that people are open to a change that does address more than one problem. When you hit the root cause, you're addressing all problems, like many problems, not just one. And so I think that this is where the excitement comes from the youth, is that they do see that value in it. Was designed. I mean, the working model in Winnipeg is 21 years successful. We've proven that refilling is fun, and anyone who's been doing it is willing to add all kinds of products, whether it is just cleaning from non-edible to edible. I mean, juices and milks, we can redesign that they're easily refilled and then airtight or spill proof. And that does, sometimes that doesn't, that will need some modifications. But other than that, we're good. I mean, the 5-gallon, I don't care what they fill everything with. You want to use a pail and put a lid on it, we'll put a pump on it. You can pump it out. Like it's, and it's pump. You don't need a lot of things. Hand soap is one thing that people go through very quickly. That's how I started. It would be my number one product. It'll be hand soap because I've got five dispensers in my sinks, and I'm forever filling them. So I can take one large container, like a laundry handle in this boat. I'll fill that with hand soap and fill all my little dispensers at my sinks with it. You create a new efficiency even within the household. I call it my tote. It would be my big one with the handle. Makes it easy to refill, and I can product into my smaller containers.
Now you're in Winnipeg, Canada, where
Yes,
it's pretty, most of the pretty
it's not cold
cold
and
or
it's
this.
not getting there. Yeah.
So how would this in places like Arizona or Florida or Texas or New
It'll be
Mexico?
fine in Arizona and that. With people, up north in paying a fortune in shipping to get all their products, they have to fly it in. They have to, it's very expensive. Change the distribution, and all they have is these big totes. It makes it all change. There, they need to have a heated building to say, because it can't freeze in the winters. But anywhere where there is no cold system, the system will run fine as
What
long
about
as
extreme heat?
we can air condition it if it's, and we will weigh if we're dispensing, milk or juices. We can actually have the coolant where it's keeps the system
But
cold.
soaps and paints would be fine in
Yeah,
like
yeah.
120
I think
degree.
I have an issue with the heat, but we can keep the buildings shaded, and that would be an instruction design. But what I have, I mean, we would have windows because for security reasons, you'd have a lot of windows, but you could create a shading type. When it's too hot, you could create the blinds would close, walkout blinds, all kinds of things on the roof. And we will be solar. So there's going to be even more insulation roof wise. And we're going to have wind technology. Wind has changed a lot when it comes to commercial. So you're always going to have dual energy.
For our who are inspired by your story and
Hmm.
want to get involved, what are some of the first steps they can take to support the wholesale refill revolution?
Save your containers. My favorite, and I would have had one, I would have showed you, is the 6 tip with the handle and the spout. Those are my favorite containers. I've got them in every color. I'm going to color coordinate for every product, and then I'm going to label them what I'm going to put in there. And the beauty of the system is that you will get labeling, can email you in nice size print what's in the products. Like right now they're printing the information so tiny you can't barely read it because they're trying to fit everything onto a label. We can change all that. And
Well,
that's the
these
beauty of it.
days, that's no problem because most things come with a QR code and you just scan it with your phone.
You
So you
can.
can see the whole information on your
Yeah.
phone and whatever magnification you want. So those problems are going away.
Yeah. But we
Finally, you have a lot of experience and a powerful vision. What is the one key takeaway or big idea you hope our audience remembers from our conversation today?
Our conversation today was great. I want people to there is no problem too big that can't be fixed. Nothing is that complicated. It is all fixable. Find the root problem and you can fix it. Everything is fixable and nothing's that complicated. I guarantee you.
Colleen, thank you so much for sharing your incredible story and vision with us. The work you're doing is truly a powerful example of how innovation and disruption can create a more sustainable future. To our audience, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Clean Titans.
Thank you. Thanks, Ali. Thank you, everyone, for listening.